Kamala gets 4 more years, she'll obliterate our economy, kill millions of jobs, destroy your family finances.
This just in, Leronardo just got humiliated in an insane video. In a bold move, DiCaprio linked the recent destructive hurricanes that battered the U.S. to former President Trump's environmental policies, pointing fingers at rollbacks and policy decisions he claims have fueled climate disasters. While DiCaprio's stance may seem like just another celebrity using their platform for activism, it stirred up a storm of backlash. Critics are accusing him of using these tragic events to push a political agenda, questioning his grasp of the issue's complexity. And here's the twist. Many argue that DiCaprio's own lifestyle doesn't exactly scream eco-friendly. It's hard to miss the irony when someone with private jets and a luxury lifestyle is preaching climate responsibility, right?
Now, and we're going to look back at this moment in history, and frankly, this administration, and certain people are going to be vilified for not taking action.
He gets into the pressing issue of climate change, linking it to the devastating hurricanes that recently wreaked havoc across Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. DiCaprio doesn't hold back, openly criticizing former President Donald Trump for what he sees as negligence on environmental issues, claiming Trump's policies directly contribute to the increased intensity of natural disasters. He talks about Trump's decision to withdraw the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accord and his rollback of critical environmental regulations as signs of reckless leadership. To DiCaprio, these choices are more than political decisions. He sees them as fueling factors for the intensifying climate crises affecting American lives. His statements come at a time when many families are still grappling with the loss and damage brought on by these catastrophic events, adding a layer of urgency to his words.
But that doesn't mean he isn't willing to hear from the wolf of environmental awareness, Leonardo DiCaprio. That's right, DiCaprio reportedly met with Trump to discuss climate activism and push for green jobs in the United States. DiCaprio's foundation released a statement saying the president-elect expressed his desire for a follow-up meeting in January.
DiCaprio's remarks, however, sparked immediate backlash online, with many viewers questioning the appropriateness of his comments. Critics argue that attributing natural disasters directly to Trump's environmental rollbacks oversimplifies a much more complex issue. They see DiCaprio's stance as yet another example of Hollywood's tendency to dive into politics without fully grasping the nuance or real-world consequences. For some, it feels like an overreach. A Hollywood star stepping into the political ring with a simplified, accusatory take on a serious issue. This reaction has brought DiCaprio's name into a larger conversation about whether celebrities should involve themselves so deeply in political discourse, especially when using tragedies to drive home their points. To many, this video isn't just about climate change, it's a stark reminder of the division between Hollywood's worldview and the reality that everyday people face. The public's strong reactions show just how sensitive the issue is and how a celebrity's well-meaning statements can sometimes feel out of touch.
We should not have people in office that do not believe in facts and truths.
DiCaprio lays out his grievances with Trump's environmental policies, linking them to the escalating crisis of climate change. He points specifically to Trump's decision to pull the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord, a global agreement aimed at reducing carbon emissions, as a clear example of disregarding climate responsibility. Furthermore, DiCaprio criticizes Trump for rolling back essential environmental protections, such as those intended to reduce pollution from industries that heavily impact the planet. In DiCaprio's view, these moves symbolize a blatant disregard for climate science, which he believes has exacerbated the damage caused by natural disasters like hurricanes. According to him, these choices have not only put America's environment at risk, but also the lives and livelihoods of those affected by these recent storms. Yet, DiCaprio's statements haven't gone unchallenged. His critics claim he's unfairly politicizing a tragedy to make a political point, accusing him of weaponizing natural disasters for an agenda. While climate scientists widely agree that human activity plays a role in intensifying natural phenomena, some argue that tying specific hurricanes directly to Trump's policies is a stretch.
So, the more I've learned about this issue, the more I've become terrified. To tell you the truth, I'm doing a new documentary about methane. You've done so much work on oceans, the protection of our oceans, the health of our oceans, the fact that so much of this carbon is being absorbed into the oceans, we're actually not even seeing on land.
They question the factual accuracy of DiCaprio's claims, suggesting he's exaggerating for effect. It's no secret that climate change is a complex topic with many factors involved, and some believe DiCaprio's simplification of the issue is misleading. To them, while Trump's environmental decisions may impact the climate long-term, it's far-fetched to place immediate blame on a single administration. This criticism highlights the controversy surrounding DiCaprio's remarks, raising important questions about the line between climate activism and political bias. DiCaprio's video shines a light on the recent hurricanes, painting them as clear evidence of climate change's severe impact on the planet. He argues that these devastating events aren't just acts of nature, but rather signals of a broader climate emergency that demands accountability from leaders like Trump. The hurricanes, which caused an estimated $100 billion in damages and left countless families displaced, form the backbone of his case. He insists that Trump's environmental policies, or the lack thereof, have made these storms more intense and damaging. By withdrawing from international climate commitments and cutting back on environmental protections, DiCaprio argues, Trump has set the stage for disasters like these to grow worse and more frequent. For DiCaprio, these hurricanes are not just natural occurrences. They're part of a preventable crisis exacerbated by political choices. Many viewers felt DiCaprio's use of the hurricanes as a political tool was insensitive, framing him as out of touch with the suffering of those affected. To these critics, his statements come across as an attempt to use the tragedy to push a specific political agenda, particularly by endorsing leaders like Kamala Harris as the solution. Some argue that placing the blame for natural disasters on a single political figure oversimplifies an issue with global and multi-generational roots. Leonardo DiCaprio expressed strong support for Kamala Harris, positioning her as a leader who can drive climate change action effectively. DiCaprio praised Harris for her backing of policies tied to the Inflation Reduction Act, a major legislative effort aimed at reducing carbon emissions and bolstering clean energy initiatives. According to DiCaprio, Harris has played a significant role in pushing forward bold climate policies, and he suggests that her leadership could help the U.S. meet its climate goals, such as achieving net zero emissions by 2050. By endorsing Harris, he's throwing his support behind someone he sees as a champion for the environment, someone who he believes will prioritize climate policies in a way that no previous administration has. This endorsement, however, has sparked debates and drawn some criticism. For one, DiCaprio's portrayal of Harris as a climate leader implies she holds considerable influence over policy, almost as if she's leading these initiatives herself. Yet critics point out that Harris's role as vice president is largely a supporting one, meaning her direct influence over legislative achievements like the Inflation Reduction Act may be more limited than DiCaprio implies. This raises a paradox. Endorsing her as a climate champion when the vice presidency is typically not a policy-making position seems contradictory.
The ramifications of the amount of carbon that we're emitting into the atmosphere, because the oceans are absorbing so much of it, and they're at capacity now.
Critics suggest that DiCaprio's message might be overreaching, assigning more influence to Harris than her actual role allows. This portrayal feeds into a broader discussion about Hollywood's tendency to endorse political figures, often presenting them as the solution to complex issues. For many, DiCaprio's endorsement feels like another instance of Hollywood amplifying one side of a political issue without fully addressing the nuances involved. This hypocrisy debate raises important questions about how seriously the public takes Hollywood's activism. For some, seeing someone like DiCaprio speak passionately about the environment while also enjoying the perks of celebrity life sends mixed signals. It makes people wonder whether he's truly committed to the cause or simply trying to boost his image. This perception of selective activism has, in turn, led to a broader skepticism about celebrity endorsements in political or environmental matters. Many people feel that Hollywood's activism often seems more about self-promotion than genuine commitment to change. As a result, public figures like DiCaprio sometimes struggle to maintain credibility on these issues. When the public sees this gap between words and actions, it can make them question not just the celebrity's message, but also the larger environmental movement they're promoting. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.